Welcome back to the Virtual Elephant YouTube channel. In this next video of my platform engineering series, we're going to dive into the 5 layers that make up a platform engineering IDP, or internal developer platform. In the first video, I covered what platform engineering is and how it's evolved from DevOps to become what it is today in 2026. I've also highlighted some of the things that we should be keeping in mind as individual contributors, developers, members of development teams, and even our organizations themselves. In this video, I'm going to cover with you how I've built my own platform engineering IDP, what tools I've gone ahead and standardized on that are going to set up the rest of this video series as I show you how to be able to stand up your first IDP as a prototype within your own environments. So let's jump in and let's get started. Now, before we dive right into the different layers that are going to make up your IDP, let me first call out a great resource and one you should be familiarizing yourself with if you haven't already as you start down this platform engineering path. Now, platformengineering.org is a wonderful set of resources on their website as well as a community online. They boast almost 300,000 members globally with over 25,000 members active on Slack today. Now, one of the critical things that they've gone ahead and done is they've published a number of certifications, and I would highly encourage you to check out the different certification tracks to figure out which ones will be most applicable to you. Now, in addition to the online community and the certifications that they've developed, the other thing that they've done is they've gone ahead and published a series of reference architectures that we can leverage as we're going down this platform engineering journey ourselves. And these reference architectures can be leveraged for ourselves to be able to determine how we should be building out our IDPs. So if we look here on the screen right now, you'll see the platform engineering reference architecture for what should be making up an IDP as we're developing one for our organizations. Now, there are 5 critical layers within this reference architecture. And this isn't really a bottom-up or a top-down approach that we might be used to within a logical diagram. But one of the things that I would say is critical is the foundational layer above, which is the observability plane. Now, this is where I'm going to be starting out our series as we dive into the next steps and what I've built out within that observability plane as part of the core functionality of my IDP. So within this observability plane, we have our monitoring and logging, we have our observability, we may have FinOps, and we might also be integrating with our incident management. But these are going to be some of the core components within the observability plane. Now, moving on from the observability plane is really where the bottom on the graph here, which is that security plane. Because as I think about platform engineering, the one thing that I think is most critical is that we are integrating security within everything we do so that it is just second nature to how we're treating our environment, our IDPs, our applications, our pipelines, and everything. And if you've seen the GitOps Pro templates that I've created, and I'll link to that video in the description below, one of the things that I've made sure I've done that I've been talking to organizations about over the last year or two is really incorporating security as a first-class citizen. And the IDP does that as well. So within this security plane, this is where we're going to be doing our code analysis. It's where we're going to be keeping our secrets. We're going to have our identity management, our policy control. We're going to be implementing network security as well as potentially implementing different security suites within our IDP also. So now once we've built our observability plane and we've built our security plane, the next logical layer for me is that integration and delivery plane that you see in the center of the screen. These are going to be all of the things that are part of the ecosystem that are going to be supporting our IDP. Now, one of the most fundamental things that I believe has to be included in this integration in our delivery plane is a CMDB. And while not specifically called out within this reference architecture, I believe that having a single source of truth as defined in a CMDB is one of the most foundational things that we can do to make sure that our platform engineering adoption is successful. And in the next video, I'm going to show you how I've implemented NetBox as my CMDB layer, and I've approached it with a GitOps mentality for managing everything from the records that's fully integrated with the IDP that I've built. But within this integration and delivery plane, we're going to have our version control. We're going to have our continuous integration. We're going to have our registry where we're keeping our containers. We're going to have our platform orchestrator, and then we're also going to have our CD or continuous development layer using tools like Argo CD or Flux CD or GitHub Actions, as well as our infrastructure control plane. Now, once we've moved on from the integration and delivery plane, the next layer is going to be that resource plane itself. Where are we going to be running everything, and what are we going to be running in it? So certainly we're going to have our compute and our management for our compute. If you've seen me talk about before, I love Rancher. It's one of the, I think, one of the most streamlined ways to get started with Kubernetes adoption within our environments. But also, if you're a Red Hat OpenShift consumer or organization, this is where that layer is going to live. Now, we're also going to have our data layer. We've got to be able to keep our data. So this is where we're going to be able to implement things like Amazon S3. We're going to be able to do Postgres, different SQL databases, what have you, that we need within our environment. And then we're going to have our networking layer. So these are going to be things like our DNS, how we're going to be pushing out our DNS. Are we going to be doing software-defined networking within OpenShift? Are we going to be doing Cilium as well within our environment? And then we have the services layer. Now, this is going to be what services do we want to go out and provide to our developers as part of our standard catalog. So we might be doing things like messaging services like RabbitMQ or NATS. This is where we might be able to provide Elasticsearch to our environments, or Kafka, or any number of other things that your organization is going to need to have. Now, these are kind of all of the core layers within the IDP that we're going to be building. But that very top layer, and this is going to be the consumer layer that we're going to be building, this is that developer control plane. So what IDEs are we going to be supporting? Are you a VS Code studio with Claude integrations? Are you using different copilots like Claude or CodeGPT or Cursor or any of the other many tools that are out there today in early 2026? And then finally, what are we going to be using for our portal? Now, certainly Backstage is probably the leader out there, and we might all be familiar with it if we've been going down this journey for a period of time over the last few years. Backstage really has the most flexibility of all of those portals out there, but there are also other tools like Port or OpenKruise, and we're going to be showing you what some of the benefits and negatives really around any of these choices are as we go through this video series. As I've been going down this journey, I've tried both Backstage and OpenKruise, and my experiences with both have been good and bad. And it's certainly going to be a trade-off dependent upon what your requirements are and what your developers actually need. Now, this is what we can consider a complete platform IDP when we've integrated all 5 of these layers within our service offering and built a platform engineering practice around them. Now, as you can see here on the screen, there's a number of different tools that we could be leveraging for any one of the layers. And you're going to have to decide for yourself which tools are best for you. I'll be honest, there are some tools that I'm using within my IDP that you do not see here on the screen today. But that is because I had to make some decisions for myself based off of my own requirements for what I was trying to do for Virtual Elephant. And those decisions you'll have to make for yourself and for your organizations. But ultimately, being able to leverage this reference architecture, and they even have a set of Google Slides that you can download that include templates that you can copy from and build off of as you go out to build your own reference architecture for your platform IDP. This is going to be a great starting point, and I highly encourage you to leverage this as a resource and follow along with this graphic even as we're going through the video series that I'm building for Virtual Elephant YouTube channel. So if you've enjoyed this content, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button, that you turn on notifications to find out when the next platform engineering series video is going to be available, and you hit the like button. And please leave me a comment below and let me know what tools you're already using for the observability plane. I'd be interested to hear from you and learn from your experiences. As always, feel free to reach out to me on X at Chris Mutchler or find me on LinkedIn as Chris Mutchler as well. And I look forward to talking to you next time.